With half the season now behind us, the championship margin is razor thin. It's Matthew Thunhorse closing in on his teammate, a multi-time runner-up in the championship standings in Thomas Bressie. JTM Motorsports, they've been dominant over the course of this season with their top two drivers at the helm. We'll find out tonight if that remains the same as the top two boys run away from the rest of the field as we return to Tennessee. Welcome to coverage of the 2025 Integrity Ignite Series. This is the Nashville SuperSpeedway. For race number 15 of our 2025 campaign, it's the halfway point. 30 races overall, 15 of which, well, we're at that point now. Welcome to Lebanon, Tennessee, live on FTN Broadcasting. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. I'm David Troitz, commentating and producing. We're looking forward to another thriller. The championship race has been up and down over the course of this season. What began with Jack Drucker at the top of the board, then became Blake Cannon, and ever since Cannon lost the championship lead now 7 races ago, it's been in Thomas Bressie's jurisdiction. Previously, he held a high of up to 50 points ahead of the next driver. It has now been cut to 14. Rob Ackley gets up to the provisional pole position. It's Tyler Hensley now up to P3. Nick Tarbuck is even going to supersede his DIR teammates. So times are still being taken as we speak. Don't expect for these to be the final times, of course. Drivers still improving. Nick Tarbuck on his way for a third lap here. His 2 times have already been verified with 2 minutes remaining. Just over 35 drivers registered today. The top 10 separated by 133 thousandths of a second as Braxton DeWeese puts up a red-hot time. Braxton for second, and he's going to jump up with a 30.084. Only 4 times so far have broken into the 30 flat range, so it's going to be from Jacob Fife on up. Blake Gordon is on the way. That's the 13. He is 19th as it stands. Gael Brooks in the number 71. Watch him make his move. He's still taking some extra times here. Waiting to see Ethan Lane, already a 4-time winner this season. Lane is still steadily moving up the championship picture. He is leading the Octane Series standings and now is looking to bring himself back up there to maybe fight for the Ignite title. This is Ethan's first lap and the first of the season with his M&M's number 6 paint scheme. Red, white, and blue all across. Lane on his way. He's going to have 2 laps here. This first one, we'll see where it puts him in the ballpark for. DJ Stagner also on the circuit. Across the stripe, Lane goes 7th on lap 1. Hunter Madalenis is on pit road, is yet to hit the circuit, and as we say that, he does. Tom Wetmore, more of the same. Tom is getting squirrely. He's coming off corner exit right now. All the while, Lane is just ahead of him and rounding turns 3 and 4. The line for Lane. 6 car, 31.41 the first time around, and he will not improve this time by. Ethan is going to stick in 7th, and it looks like he'll stay a little bit further back. Boomer Logan on the way. DJ Stagner more the same. This is DJ's second and final lap. And he is now one of only 5 drivers at a time with 10 seconds remaining. DJ will be able to get to the line. We'll see now if he can beat that time at the top of the board. At the stripe, Stagner, 30.051. The final time is the top time. DJ Stagner ahead of Domination Intimidation Racing, and the front row lockup has been broken. Swamp Motorsports secures the pole position. DJ Stagner, the man to do it, with a 30.051. Stagner, what a lap that was. And he got it in right at the final second. So for DJ, of course, a former champion in the Ignite Series, he's got the stuff, and of course, he's got the pace. He is top 10 in the championship standings as it stands. He made up 2 places last week. For DJ, of course, this is, to this point, his first pole of the season. So his best qualifying effort, and we'll see if he can go for his best race effort. Has not yet been able to win so far this year, but last time we came to this venue, he proved to be very strong. We'll see what he can do this time by. Qualifying lineup has been arranged, however, and it's not just DJ Stagner, a man to focus on, but it's the remainder of the field. Second place, Nick Tarbuck to DJ Stagner. Domination Intimidation Racing coming on strong in the Super 6. They'll take 3 of these headlining positions. Nick goes second. Braxton Deweese, your defending champion, goes third, while Jack Drucker, who's been coming on strong again as of late, a 56 goes fourth. That's your Daytona winner. Then from there, you'll have Rob Ackley in 5th place and Jacob Fife, the league owner, in 6th. 7th place is immediately subsequent, and that will be Michael Araya. Ethan Lane, maybe a little bit under expectations. He's been so great as of late that if he's going to go for another week sweep, he'll have to move up a few places. Ethan today qualifies in 8th. Tyler Hensley is 9th, and Matthew Thunhorst is 10th with Sam Nieto and Cody Smith, the final men in the first dozen. 13th and 14th places are Ryan Potter and Dylan Poteet. Poteet making his second start in his Integrity Ignite Series career, of course known best for his Thursday Night Racing live on FTN with the Highline Racing League. Then from there, you're going to have Nicholas Ward. Ward today is going to qualify in 15th place, and immediately subsequent to him, it's 16th in Casey Shue. 17th is Thomas Bresci, and 18th is the number 55 of Ronnie Osmer, as 19th place is going to be the driver of the 81 in Brandon Bernhardt, and Josh Christman concludes the top 20. Brian McFerrin is 21st. 22nd is Justin Morton with the 73 of Kyle Cooper, then running in P23. 24th place, Sebastian Miller in the 83, of course his teammate tonight, grabbing the top position. 25th place, Blake Gordon, and to round out the top 30, you'll have Josh Gallagher, Elliot Henderson, Vinny Tigner, Jared Davis, and Brant McClendon for 30th. For the top 35, it's 31st place. That's the driver today. In the number 71, Gael Brooks. Don Stevenson then finds himself just behind for 32nd. 33rd is Boomer Logan. Andrew Schaub is in 34th. With 35th, Hunter Madalenas, the first driver not to take a time. And then you'll have Tom Wetmore in the number 69 tonight, 36th. 37th and 38th, your final row, Steve Durham in the 21, and Calvin Filarski in the number 39. Just like that, 38 drivers, 19 rows, and it comes down to whoever wins it. Championship race as tight as it gets, but an outsider in DJ Stagner grabs the pole position from the Nashville SuperSpeedway. 1 minute remains for drivers to take those final practice times, and currently, DJ's getting his first warm-up lap in. DJ on his way to the higher side of the circuit here. Really don't think these laps are going to mean all too much for how the racing pans out tonight. Sun is already setting, and as we've had for the past few races, changing conditions as the day goes on. The Integrity Octane Series came very recently to this circuit, and of course it was Ethan Lane who came away with a dominant victory. He was able to get the better part of 130 plus laps led in that affair. Of course, he is a no-doubt candidate to win both championships, Lane, but you got to focus on Stagner tonight, pulling out that great qualifying effort, and he's going to be one to watch. Of course, Domination Intimidation Racing as well. And here's Justin Morton taking his final time. Practice has concluded. Warm-up and qualifying are out of the way. And from the Nashville SuperSpeedway, it's about time now that we get things moving. Morton through the grass, and that will be it. Checkered flag falls on all but our race as we are ready to hit the green. 132 laps, 176 miles are on the agenda for today's event. Nashville SuperSpeedway. We've already made the trip on Tuesday nights, as we mentioned, and we previously ventured to this circuit in the 2024 Octane Series campaign. The 1.33-mile circuit has brought out the best in some drivers who know their way around the unfamiliar and the unique. Think, for instance, to Kyle Trudell last week when he was able to get away with his career-high second-place finish. Expect for drivers who might not always be on the up and up of the intermediates to maybe, just maybe, have a better chance. I'm looking at that 11th to 20th roundup, including guys who maybe we don't talk about every week, including Josh Christman or Casey Shue. Both of which in different positions. Shue is a veteran, Christman is a rookie. Nevertheless, you might see them burst out to the front of the field today. Tyler Hensley is very close to a breakout. He is not inside the top 25 in points just yet, but he's been getting closer and closer to consistent top 10s in his return season this year. I'm going to have to say, winning, however, comes down to your front row guys or an Ethan Lane. Ethan is a candidate every week, that's without question, but for Stagner and Tarbuck, these are statement qualifying runs. If you want to reinstate yourself as a qualifying, of course, contender, it can help you out with reinstating yourself as a championship contender. Tarbuck comes into the day 4th place in the championship. He was 3rd last week, but Jack Drucker was able to overtake him in that metric, and now Nick stands just outside of the podium. A good night today, of course, ahead of the 56, who lines up just behind him, could pay off in dividends. He wants to make a serious championship run here and keep it tight between he and the JTM guys who are spread apart again in qualifying. Matthew with the better of Thomas, 10th to the 24's 17th. Conditions are about as good as they can get with the sun beaming down on drivers from Music City. 1 lap remaining until we go green. Double file racing? Well, that's how it's going to start. Conditions today should be pretty good to get that multi-groove action in. Partly cloudy skies at 78 degrees Fahrenheit and track temperature coming in at 81. Winds are eastbound at 7 miles an hour and the sun continues to set. We got 132 laps on the day. We might just see fully dark racing with the stadium lights by give or take lap 80. That just depends on how clean we keep it. We've had some good clean races as of late. Hoping to keep that momentum going once again. DJ Stagner's got the swamp in a multi-car pursuit tonight. 24th place for Sebastian Miller, but it's all eyes on the 64 once again. You got 2 champions lined up on the inside in Stagner and Tarbuck, of course, is on the outside, but Braxton DeWeese works it down low. These are the only 2 drivers who have championships still actively racing, as Alec Daffin retired from the Ignite Series after his 2023 B title. The best of the best are up in front. That is without certainty. The championship race is as narrow as it's been all year long, and it comes down to 2 teammates. However, you got 2 men from the top 10 of the championship on the front row, and you got a defending champ right behind. Green flags out for the Nashville SuperSpeedway for the 2nd time in 2 weeks. This time around, it's about time the Xfinity cars give it a go. We're underway from Music City. DJ Stagner leads us in. DJ Stagner opens it up, and he's got these first 2 laps led. It's going to be Braxton Weiss just behind him. The DIR teammates swapping positions early. Nick Tarbuck falls back to third here. Of course, not falling back all too far. Domination Intimidation Racing now has a DIR sandwich going on in the top 5. They've got the middle 3, and then you got Michael Araya in 5th, and DJ Stagner still leading the way. Single file and a lot of drivers eyeing the bottom right now. You'll see Dylan Poteet in a hotly contested race to the inside of the circuit. And right now, he's going to have Ryan Potter just to his top. Sam Nieto in the number 2. Nicholas Ward in the 97. Both of them gaining some experience for tomorrow night just to keep the seat warm. They were both involved with our last race at Nashville. That was last week in the Octane Series. Four laps in out of 132. Thomas Bressi remains 17th here, and it looks like while he's been red hot to open the season, those first 10 races sure have gone a lot better than the most recent 5. Bressi has seen that championship lead diminish, and with poor performances and a lot of misfortune in terms of fighting for the win, it really hasn't gone his way. Even races where most often Bressi is a surefire candidate for victory, including Watkins Glen, he was not only outpaced by his teammate in Thunhorse, but wasn't able to get the win overall, as Ethan Lane was the man who got it done. 6 laps in out of 132. Right up next, it's all DJ Stagner into the next set of corners. Ronnie Osmer and Josh Christman following Thomas Bressi, as it's all but Casey Shue and Matthew Thunhorse down low. Ryan Potter up high, making his moves. 3 cars tonight for Swamp Motorsport. The 99 of Potter, now the middle of which in terms of position. Ryan, another fair qualifying effort, and he was able to get himself some good momentum early on in Phoenix, and it just dissipated as the race progressed. The 99 car making his moves on these Monday nights and try to catch up to his leading teammate. Although it looks like that lead may come to pass. Braxton DeWeese on the inside, and it looks like the first real shot this season for DeWeese to take that race lead under green and early. He's putting the pressure down on the bottom, and at the line, by 9 1/1000ths of a second, Braxton got there. DeWeese with a car length, and he's up in front. DJ Stagner now going to face the music from Michael Araya, and all of a sudden it looks like the big 3 of old is back together. Araya, Tarbuck, and Ethan Lane, who just got by Rob Ackley. Those are the guys that we called the big 3 in 2024 as they won 28 of 30 Octane Series races. Lane accounted for 14 wins, Michael Araya the champion for 10, and Tarbuck for the other 4 in that combination. The only other 2 drivers who were able to win that year were Don Stevenson once and Blake Cannon once. Every other driver went winless. And while it looks like this year they haven't been able to go win for win for win, shall we say, they also have been able to keep it pretty close in what has become an even more competitive league. They're up in front right now, and there's a reason for that. Tarbuck now in the middle of this DIR posse once again. Rob Ackley falls back to 7th. Tarbuck still remains 4th, while his teammate in DeWeese is now taken hold. Braxton needs a win. He was able to come away with a championship that was well-deserved last season, and it was between he and Thomas Bressi performance-wise, especially toward the late end of the calendar. Braxton is now 11th in the championship. He was pushed 1 spot back last week by DJ Stagner, so he's in jeopardy of losing that top 10 status even further because Ronnie Osmer is only 1 point behind him coming in. Now, with that said, Braxton could go as high as up to 9th and solidly in 9th by the end of day if he has a good race here. He's got Michael Araya just ahead of him in the points table, but of course right now Michael behind him on the racetrack. DJ Stagner, middle of the circuit. Number 64, middle groove once again. And it looks like now Araya able to take it a little bit deeper time and time. Slight progression now for the 44. And if Michael can get that edge into the corner entry, I think it's going to be smooth sailing at least to keep the advantage. on back just outside the top 10. You'll see a little bit more of that contentious style of racing. The mid-pack, of course, is going to be where it's at. Sebastian Miller now trying to get himself out of the rut of being in the mid-20s. He is now in 23rd place from 24th in qualifying. He's watched as Blake Gordon's been able to make his moves. Now, Ronnie Osmer being pressured. Gordon was able to get by Osmer. Ronnie now going side by side with Josh Christman. Josh up top, and he's pulling it on the high side. Coming across the 88 car, now with a little bit more. Ronnie, of course, getting himself a podium finish last week. The qualifying lineup really didn't seem to be too optimistic for Ronnie to do that, but all things considered, he made the best out of the strategy and kept himself in the top 3. Now for Osmer, if he wants to keep himself in the top 10, it all just comes down to that consistency. Top 10 performances are going to be great, but can you get them regularly? And it's not just about getting one podium finish, which Osmer just did. Of course, that's one of his very few podiums on the campaign by virtue of how competitive it has been. But it comes to question again, can you do it multiple times? A top 10 7 times over is much more valuable than one podium and a lot of other sub-teen finishes. You can't roll with that. 15 of 132. Osmer right now is in 21st and is looking to run it back. Matthew Thunhorst is still ahead of his teammate in Bresci, but watch out now, the 24 is getting closer. Thomas has been able to cut the gap. The advantage now only 0.3 of a second between he and his teammate. Matthew today could take the championship lead for the first time this year. Matthew Thunhorst 14 points back. And the 99 of Ryan Potter just getting ahead of him here. Championship standings, all between these two drivers, have been up and down this season, but Matthew Thunhorst really putting himself into the championship game when Blake Cannon exited that top spot. Blake has fallen back immensely. I mean, you look at it right now, he is 150 points back on the championship in 7th, and that comes in large part thanks to missing a few races consecutively here. Not to say that Blake is on the done-and-done path, but overall, it looks like he doesn't have the full intention of going for the regular season title, if not the overall championship at that. Now, trying to get a little bit more leg room out in front, Matthew Thunhorst dives low. Can't quite get it around Ryan Potter just yet. 18 laps in out of 132 here. No dice as Thunhorst goes to the apron, and it looks like he still hasn't come up clear. Matthew Thunhorst getting a car length, but not on Thomas Bresci, as it looks like now the 24 appeals to the lower groove as well. Watch for Nicholas Ward. He's also coming up here. 15th, where he qualified, 16th, where he is now. Had a few early setbacks, it looks like, in race pace, but he's gotten himself back into position to keep on moving. Ward, podium sitter once this season at Kentucky, race winner in the Octane Series as well. It looks like right now he's getting himself to the underside of that Ryan Potter car. Potter's issue has often been the long-term pace, and it looks like, again, maybe dissipating a little bit earlier than he would like. Tire saving being one of the enemies of this team. Potter up top, and he'll brush up against the wall. Casey Shue on the bottom, Sam Nieto watching, and Sam's got a real good view of this. Take a look aboard with the number 2 car. Sam Nieto, with the sun beaming in his face out of turn 4, is now coming toward the shadier part of the circuit. As you can see, the sun no longer shining across the entire circuit, and that's going to be something that is, of course, consistent with the last few weeks of racing. Tracks change, not only, of course, in terms of light, but also in terms of how you work with the equipment you got. Those Goodyear tires, they behave a lot differently in the sunlight, and they behave a lot differently in the warmth. 85 degrees track temperature is the highest we've had it all night long. Nobody's struggling for grip just yet. I don't think that's going to be the case for at least the next 20 laps, but you also have to imagine that as the track gets a little less cool, the tires are still going to be more worn out. So you're facing that downward descent of tire performance with a slightly cooler track eventually. It's a little bit warmer than when we started, but that is because we're wearing down the rubber and putting more in. Across the line for Braxton DeWeese. He'll take the race lead with a resounding margin of 2/10 now. He got ahead of DJ Stagner, and as you can see, DJ is now the man bookending the top 5. P5 now for Stagner. 8/10 off your leader. Ethan Lane's gotten by for 4th, and he might just go for 3rd. Surging down to the inside. Looks good for Lane now. Quick move low. And Tarbuck with little defense on that. Looks like now these two will jockey for the position. To lap 25. Lane low, that's all he needed to do. Ethan takes 3rd. Michael Araya now in 2nd place. And of course, you look at this 44 car, maybe he's got a shot at pressuring DeWeese. Braxton was able to get it up in front over DJ Stagner, and not yet has he been threatened directly as the top man on the board. Across the line once again, it's going to be now less than 2/10 of a second, the difference maker. That's Chevrolet Camaro, leading and only just. Of course, looking at the number 1 car anyhow. Braxton DeWeese here holding an advantage. We'll see how long exactly he keeps it going. For the time being, it looks like Braxton DeWeese has gotten, give or take, 33% of the stint through. Looking at the numbers, drivers can go for the magic 50-50 split. As such, 27 laps in at 132, we'll most likely see drivers going into pit road at about lap number 65. Anywhere from 60 to 70 is fair game today. So long as drivers keep it together, we're going to have an opportunity for a long strategic pull. We only had ourselves 1 interruption in Phoenix, and otherwise we went more than 100 consecutive laps under green. Maybe that's what DeWeese is eyeing tonight. So far, he's got the long run pace, but watch behind. Ethan Lane is gradually creeping in. Ethan finally got that kickstart momentum, I think, at Watkins Glen. It was not his first win of the season, but that was the night where that number 6 team looked rejuvenated. And at long last, it looks like now he's got the pace to go at it at every race possible. Lane now is coming up on Michael Araya. And if he goes in for 2nd, I don't think we're going to have any doubt in Lane looking for 1st. Top 3 are tightening up. Gap between them, 0.3 of a second. For the championship lead, Matthew Thunhorst is still just ahead of Thomas Bressi now. It is 17th to 13th for Bressi. So he's made it up 4. Matthew Thunhorst has lost a position on the day. He is just outside the top 10, running in 11th as it stands. The 8 car of Thunhorst, making his way up to Cody Smith, and he might just have a chance to rebound and get it up in the top 10. Smith as well, coming up now on Jacob Fife. Fife qualifying strongly in a 6th position is now dropped 3. Cody Smith has gone up 2, so you're looking at a few drivers who are on the crossroads of the ups and downs of the top 10, coming from completely different places at that. The Next Level Racing Chevrolet coming up on the Sim Motion number 36. Both of these drivers well-esteemed and veterans at that. And of course, Jacob Fife having 1 Integrity Racing League victory so far this year, Octane Series in Las Vegas. Cody Smith still looking for his 1st on the year, hasn't yet come to him. Of course, tonight could be the night, and he was looking very good in Phoenix. While Ethan Lane was able to lead almost the entirety of Phoenix last week, Cody Smith was able to lead 20 laps, which was the second most of anyone on the track that day. Ronnie Osmer was able to get 10 laps led. Cody went for 20, and Ethan Lane led 110. Now Matthew Thunhorst to the inside to get a little bit of a buffer on the 18. So, Thunhorst up to the point. He'll get 10th place. Watching intervals here, it's going to be side-by-side and contentious between Casey Shue and Josh Christman. Ryan Potter and Elliott Henderson also coming together. Double file, 2 lanes deep with the 37 Henderson coming off the outside wall. Luckily for him, no contact. Hunter Madalenas dealing with this race on hard mode as the 07 Ford Mustang is coming from 35th on the grid. Hunter has been looking great as of recent, and I think that's just a continuation of his remarkable rookie year. Hunter is most likely going to make it into the Ignite Series playoffs. Currently, the 07 team is seeded well. Championship-wise, he's got the victories to back it up and finds himself 5th in the standings. He moved up after a strong race last week and now finds himself just ahead of Ethan Lane. He and Ethan tonight are battling to maintain or take that 5th place in the title race. After Madalenas, he's also battling against Nick Tarbuck, but so far it looks like Nick has the better of him. Madalenas currently scored in 21st here. We'll see where he's at the line from this point. Tom Wetmore coming up on Ryan Potter. Madalenas getting now officially up to the 20th place as Tom Wetmore goes for 21st. Madalenas, he is currently 20th. Tom Wetmore, P21. Thank you for tuning in so far live on FTN Broadcasting. All viewers, we've only just gotten started. Chris DeWeese in the chat room with the Braxton DeWeese fan club. It's been a great night so far for the one team, but Ethan Lane is again ahead. Braxton third to, of course, previously first on the day, now third to second. It looks like Ethan Lane has now made the big move in the top 10, 8th to 1st. So far, after 36 laps, every driver who qualified in the top 10 is still racing there. With Matthew Thunhorst reclaiming 10th place, it is still the exact same case in regards to those numbers anyway as it was to begin the night. So, it's pretty evident right now that if you were the driver that began up in front, you were going to keep it that way. The top 20 is mostly the same as well, and of your top 20 drivers, it looks like very few anomalies have made their way through. Counting it, it looks like currently 17 of your top 20 qualifiers remain in the top 20. The only exceptions are now from 25th to 16th is Blake Gordon, 27th to 18th is Elliott Henderson, and 35th to 19th is Hunter Madalenas. Everyone else still remains up and ahead. That's a great average. That is 17 of 20, so if you started in the upper half of the field, you are highly likely to keep it to that point a quarter of the way into the night. We do, of course, have those exceptions that have fallen back. Brandon Bernhardt, 19th to 30th, 18th to 25th for Ronnie Osmer, now 13th to 22nd for Ryan Potter, and Casey Shue most recently 16th, 21st. He just fell out because Tom Wetmore just made his way in. Wetmore in the 69, still trailing directly after Hunter Madalenas. These two drivers started together, and they still are with each other. Both have made up now 16 positions, and cumulatively, they have made up 32. With Madalenas just getting by Elliott Henderson for 18th, that makes it a net gain of 33 across the two drivers. Very impressive number so far. Henderson going to find himself now 2 spots back, of course, where he was on Josh Christman, but overall, still a day of gains, gaining 8 on the night to this point. From 27th up to 19th. 40 laps in out of 132, Ethan Lane, 8th up to 1st, and now 8/10 is the edge. Ethan looking to check out once more. And of course, he's still pretty far out by all accounts in the championship. A night like this, even if it goes perfect from here, wouldn't immediately bring him up to the front, but it surely will put him up in the top 3 conversation. Jack Drucker, who is third in points, is now running in seventh. Nick Tarbuck, who is fourth and looking to battle to take third back, he's right up there in the top five. Drucker and Tarbuck will be able to keep a majority of that edge they have, but Ethan Lane, if he wins, would absolutely chomp in. At the stripe for 41 out of 132. Lane with 8/10. Thomas Bressie right now. A few drivers back on Matthew Thunhorst again. Nicholas Ward, all of a sudden, it looks like has also gotten by Bressie. And, of course, Matthew Thunhorst, while maintaining 10th, has kept a static advantage. Following Bressie and Ward, of course, Cody Smith has a little bit more time and a little bit more position to work with. See now, he's gaining more time and expanding the distance between he and the 97. Ward is behind, and you can take a look on board with Cody Smith now. He's got no problem looking to drift. For Smith now, a very fair shot that he's going to be able to maintain a top 10 run tonight. He would be the first exception, of course, because still they're 10 for 10 qualifying-wise, but Cody's there. Matthew Thunhorst has been up and down so far as to maintaining the top 10, but I figure he can do a little bit more from here, and maybe he'll be able to pull away from Cody Smith. It could go either way. Defensively so far, Matthew Thunhorst has looked above average, and that's exactly what he needs to do right now. Even though these might not be the most important of positions, he's not really fighting for the win so far tonight, and it'll be a challenge for him to get up there. It doesn't mean that these points aren't critical, and it could be the difference between 10th and 13th, where Bressie is right now, that gives him the title lead by end of night. Now, Lane leads by a second. Lariah gets by Braxton DeWeese for third. Braxton might slowly but surely find out what's going on with Nick Tarbuck and DJ Stagner. Stagner, the pole sitter, dropped quickly back to fifth, but since that point, he has not lost an inch. He's kept his ground up, and he's maintained position ahead of Rob Ackley, and it looks like even though DJ might not be the one of one so far tonight, he absolutely is a cornerstone piece of the up front running. And of course, for fifth place, not a bad place to be right now. DJ, 10th in points, and if he gets a good run tonight, single digits, he'll be bound to make it. DJ only 4 points back on Michael Lariah coming in, and it looks like only about 25 back on Jared Davis before the race began. Davis is 8 laps down in the 38th position. According to timing and scoring there, you saw that. He's currently officially running, however, 35th as we refresh our timing page. He's on the lead lap, but very far behind here, and it looks like no retirees to this point. All of your 38 drivers are still going. Davis just finds himself a little bit further back than he would like to be, of course. Qualified tonight in 29th and has dropped 6 positions ever since. Just doesn't look like it's been his day. And so DJ Stagner with a real opportunity to pounce on that and make his way up. Stagner watching Tarbuck. Tarbuck watching Braxton. 25th to 18th. Blake Gordon contested with Tom Wetmore. Wetmore to the inside, surging low. Tom from 36th up to 17th trying to keep up with Hunter Madalenas here. Henderson, he made his move up to as high as 16th here, and he tried to keep up with Madalenas. No longer the case, and both of your hard chargers have gotten it again. For cumulative gains of 40 places. 35th to 15th for Madalenas, 36th to 16th for Tom Wetmore. Remarkable. There are only 38 drivers in this race, and those 2 drivers combined have made up for more than 100% of the passes applicable. Of course, if it was only 1 driver. 2 drivers are doing it, but they're doing a great job at that, and they've kept with each other from the jump. Matt Lennis and Wetmore are creeping into the upper fabric of this race, but their next challenge is going to be more than anything else. It's a 2-second deficit down to Sam Nieto. Nieto is about 7 seconds behind Ethan Lane. Matt Lennis is 9 seconds back here. So I think the ceiling has been reached for Matt Lennis and Wetmore as well on this run. Doesn't mean they can't improve from here, but I think it's going to come down to more of that strategy from this point onward. At the line, Tarbuck ahead of Braxton DeWeese. Braxton now finding himself fourth as DJ Stagner ducks to the inside. DJ Stagner awaiting an opportunity. It looks like the top 5 has continued to shuffle here. 5th place for Stagner, of course qualifying first. He'd get himself back up to 4th. Lowest spot he's been in all day is P5. Rob Ackley has been there, but he hasn't been able to actively contest it. Out of turn 2, the gap is as close as it's been. DJ ducks to the inside. Braxton DeWeese, it looks like maybe having some trouble with tire in these later stages of the run. 52 laps in out of 132, coming to 80 laps remaining. Braxton's going to definitely benefit from getting those tires put back on. 4 tires and fuel, a recipe for our green flag pit stop cycle from this point onward. Braxton, you'll see here, coming out of turn 2, remains advantageous. At least in this battle, DJ Stagner is not going to get any work cut out for him easy. Michael Araya leading now, and there's a reason why. Ethan Lane has opted to go down and in, and he'll be the first man to do so. Lane's got new rubber, and he's back all the way. Coming in at lap number 52, Ethan Lane, the first of many to opt in. Sam Nieto just decided to do so. Sam to the inside. Coming in at lap number 54. Again, the magic number expected to be about lap number 67 on the day. And we're looking at the left side of your screen. If a driver has not gone into pit road, it will say their last pit lap was 0. Otherwise, we'll know when a driver makes their move and goes in for their first strategy call of the night. Jacob Fife coming up on Jack Drucker. Jacob now going to find himself 6th place. He was 7th prior to Lane dropping in, and it looks like still holding a very consistent wheel. Jacob Fife steady today. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the normal, which has been maybe one of his biggest strengths this year, going against the curve. And tonight, not so much. He's gone by the book. Not often we say that about Fife, or at least not often that we've said it this year, but so far it looks like the conventional has played out in his favor. Jacob just made the move up for 5th. And Tyler Hensley might be able to go for P6 here. To the inside, there goes Tyler. Coming around, it's going to be also Ethan Lane. Lane's a lapper here, still trying to get himself back on the lead lap, and he's putting it all together. Ethan in the 6 car, when he goes past Michael Araya, most likely that's the signal the 44 car is going to go in. Still, I would say about 10 more laps to stretch it till Michael can guarantee he's going to have himself a race-winning operation, strategy-wise anyway. Going in at lap 52 is a really risky call for Ethan, unless he's got the confidence he can go the next 70-plus laps, which maybe he can. I just think he's going to be eyeing a 2-stop strategy rather than the ideal 1-stopper. Up top for Lane, he'll get by 2nd place. That's Nick Tarbuck. Only driver left in his path is the 44, and he's getting right there. Last time by, Michael Araya ran a 31.938. Ethan Lane this time around ran a 30.467. That's a 1.5 seconds of difference, and the advantage is clearly with Ethan Lane. That was a slow one from him, though, a 32.145 because the caution's out. Yellow flag for the first time today, and we got an incident on the circuit. taking a look a lap back, and we're going to figure out why that's the case. Yellow flag is out. Taking a look over his head, we'll get a better idea as to who and what was involved. Front stretch, right there. And we got a beat on it. Check out what happened. This is your instant replay. As coming across the stripe, it was Casey Shue in the 4 car. Sam Nieto, contact up into Casey Shue and Kyle Cooper. Shue goes down the track. The yellow flag is out. Luckily, Casey doesn't hit anyone on the way there. Shue and Cooper involved as they head to pit road. And it looks like all your leaders decided to make it in at once. Big pit stop cycle, and it might be the most important of the day. Might be able to stretch it the full distance from here. As everyone comes in, Michael Araya wins the race out with Nick Tarbuck second, DJ Stagner just ahead of Rob Ackley, then Jacob Fife, Tyler Hensley, and Matthew Thunhorst. Thunhorst remains multiple positions ahead of teammate Thomas Bressi. .60 laps in out of 132. Michael Araya, your race leader. Blake Gordon, with those who stayed out, you see there Braxton DeWeese in the number 1. A few drivers who made that early peel-in are now going to have to be looped around the circuit. Notably, Ethan Lane now finds himself 29th and is going to be all the way at the back of the field. Strategy didn't work out for him there. He went into pit road early, banking on a long green flag run, and unfortunately a minor scuffle is going to put all that planning to waste. Michael Araya against an old rival, Nick Tarbuck. Domination Intimidation Racing again taking at least one spot on the front row. And now DIR lined up with Ackley behind Tarbuck again. DJ Stagner as well, having a chance to retake the lead as he finds himself 3rd place here. Maybe some changes in strategy can help out the 64 in maintaining the top spot for a little while longer. Michael Araya gets the caution he needed to maintain the race lead, and effectively speaking, the battle for the top spot is reset. With Ethan Lane far in the back, these drivers have some time to play as our first restart comes to pass. Lap number 61 of 132, Araya taking the lead. It's side by side everywhere back. One on the wall up high, they'll remain green. It's Hunter Madalenas. Madalenas up in the wall, and that right side is torched. Up and ahead, they're side by side, Stevenson and McFerrin, but Madalenas practically race over. He's going to get real lucky if he gets any other shot. Watch this. And he just rocketed up to the top of the circuit, whether it was an equipment failure or not. It just looks like he made the wrong call in, and it messed him up. Hunter is now 35th. And officially in timing and scoring, dropped back to 38th and last. Horrible news for the 07 car. So now Ethan Lane and Hunter Madalenas very far out of the leading picture. 64 out of 132 laps. Nick Tarbuck in 2nd, DJ Stagner 3rd, Rob Ackley in 4th. Now you'll see Jacob Fife trying to take it from Rob. It's the highest spot that Jacob's had all night long, and all of a sudden with a burst of confidence, the 36 has come to play. Rob Ackley with the second groove, trying to work it out to maintain position as he can't get it on Jacob Fife. Now to look back to Matthew Thunhorst. Thunhorst again has the wind in his sails, but not too far behind him is his championship rival and teammate Ian Thomas Bresti. The regular season title will most likely go to one of these two men, if not for Ethan Lane's late championship surge. The regular season title, though, is decided very soon, and it would take perfection out of the 6 team to even have a chance. Now we're coming up on those final races next week, of course, going to be pivotal as well. And as we move on from Nashville, we'll go to the new Atlanta SuperSpeedway, the mini SuperSpeedway as we call it. And that mile-and-a-half circuit means that it's anyone's guess as to who takes victory. 66 laps in out of 132. And coming to lap number 67, Michael Araya still about 2 car lengths up on Tarbuck. Stagner third, Fife fourth, Rob Ackley in P5. And now Matthew Thunhorst is eyeing the 6th spot and looking on how to go further. Watch what happens next for Cody Smith. 12th up to 10th, he's the bookending man of the top 10 picture, but he's also got some very tough competitors behind him. Elliott Henderson has been making his way around. Of course, 27th, we last saw him in the mid-teens. He was contending against Madeleine and Wetmore, 2 of our big movers. Tom has been able to keep most of his positions. In fact, he's gained a little bit, 36th up to 13th, but as we previously stated, Madeleine is all but gone. 68 laps in out of 132. We are more than halfway there. Strategy calls tonight will be largely dependent on that first caution. If drivers paid attention under yellow and saved meticulously, they can go the distance. Not going to be easy, but most definitely they can. .64 laps remaining. Michael Araya, Nick Tarbuck, DJ Stagner now the podium, and Stagner got up to as high as 4th in that green flag run prior, but it looks like now your pole sitter reeling them in again. Stagner, oftentimes we've seen it, he'll take the pole position, he'll fall a little bit further back, maybe to the podium or the outskirts of the top 5, and then he'll surge very late. That's something that has become a little bit of a tactic for the Swamp Motorsport crew. If DJ Stagner's not going to dominate, he's going to slowly but surely work his way around and get back up to the bigger picture when it matters most. And maybe we're still seeing that slow but certain resurgence. Emphasis on slow, but if it works out, it could be the steady call that brings victory to the 64 team. Tyler Hensley and teammates, oh yes, teammates, plural, Matthew Thunhorst and Thomas Bresti around him. So JTM lined up all in the top 10, 7th, 8th, 9th. Bresti still the bookending man. The teammates lined up all as one. Domination Intimidation Racing was in a similar position. You'll see right now, Nick with the runner-up spot, Rob Ackley 5th, and then a little bit further back, you'll also have, take a look, of course, DIR multiple drivers, Braxton Luis, the 1 car, now 23rd. The inside on Dylan Poteet. Poteet in the 31. Not a lot of opportunities to this point. Of course, it's only his 2nd career race in the Ignite Series, making his very first in Charlotte. Able to get away with the mid-teens finish then. Poteet really throwing himself into the deep end of the pool, but that's how a driver learns. He's raced against some of these guys who are top talent in the high line as well. You got Stagner, Miller, and Potter, but it looks like right now Dylan's still trying to get accustomed to the nature of the racing here. Similar field, there are a few drivers who have crossed over, but it's by no means identical. Poteet remains just on the door of the top 20. Knocking on the doorstep, but has not yet been let in. 17 spots gained. Don Stevenson, 32nd to 15th. So we got multiple drivers in the top 15 who came from outside the top 30. 32nd and 15th, and Stevenson 36th to 13th in Wetmore. "59 laps to go. 9th to 8th, Tyler Hensley. Hensley still ahead of Bresci. 27th to 10th. Let's see what happens now for Elliott. Right up on Bresci's back end with 58 remaining. Take a look aboard now as Henderson's putting the pressure. With Cody Smith behind, let's see now what Elliott can do. Bresci to the inside on Matthew Thunhorst. First time they've been directly against each other all night long. Elliott Henderson, of course, with that perfect front row seat. And now, with a surge of momentum, the 24 at the line has the better of him. Nearly contact, Bresci has to move out the way. Elliott Henderson makes it double trouble for Matthew Thunhorst as he surges down to the apron and takes another position. 10th place. Matthew Thunhorst shot back to it. That's where he qualified. Bresci has now made up 9 positions to go from 17th to 8th. 15th to 6th, that's a gain of 9 spots for Nicholas Ward. He's also got himself some good moves in him. Maybe another top 5 going to be in accordance. Ward so far just within the confines of the top 20 in points, 19th in the championship standings, and he finds himself there losing 2 spots after last week. So he's right on the bleeding edge because he's only now just about a point ahead of Sebastian Miller and only about 7 points up on 21st place. That, of course, is Justin Morton. Morton tonight not having the best of days in 35th place as it stands. But even still, going to need a little bit more than what we've seen so far for the driver of Ward to really propel himself further into the top 15. I think that's going to be the end goal for the Ignite Series anyway. Ward might have a shot at making it into the Octane Series playoffs, but it's all about right now getting to the firm upper half of the Ignite points. Ward watching Ackley, and now Tyler Hensley going at it with Thomas Bresci. Hensley up high, Bresci surging through. That brings Thomas up to 7th. How about that for the 24 car? So Thomas, after the first some 70 laps, not looking like a firm contender against his title rival and teammate, he's now gotten ahead of both of his teammates up in the top 10, and it'll be Bresci for 7th. Hensley now finding himself in 9th. Matthew Thunhorst out of the top 10 in 11th. Don Stevenson's looking for him. Track conditions have changed, as you might have noticed. We are no longer looking at the sunny skies, and instead the stadium lights have really taken over. And the track behaves differently in the night. So you're beginning to see who's more confident with more grip on the surface and not playing with the edge of control nearly as much. And it looks like right now for Thunhorst, it's really playing to his disadvantage, if anything. Don Stevenson for another spot. Don gets it. That'll pull him up now to the 11th place. The 8 car dropping back with Brian McFerrin and Josh Christman looking for top dozen placements. We mentioned early today that while Christman maybe not a weekly contender, the qualifying effort was indicative he has something in store. So far, he's proven us right. Now, Tom Wetmore, one of the biggest movers on the day, is looking to do even more of that. Hunter Madalenas is not retired, but it looks like now he is 3 laps down, 38th place. Tom Wetmore has fared a lot better of those 2 big movers because Tom is still making gains. Just got by Christman, that's going to be for 14th. And again, Wetmore has gained a total of 22 places on the night. "50 laps remaining. Michael Araya remains ahead of Nick Tarbuck here, and so far it has been no contest. Off the restart line, these two drivers took off, and they've remained advantageous. DJ Stagner now might have to look behind more than anything else, and Madalenas just retired, the first and only of the day so far. And take a look at this, the 36 car of Fife to the inside. He'll be looking for a podium placement. Side by side now, down the back straight. Fife low, had a whole lot of momentum, and now he'll be digging deep. What can Stagner do about it? Not much. Outside groove, he'll try to rally high, but it still looks like Jacob's got the speed. Usually that outside gives well for a driver who is on the top groove just trying to build, and a little bit more momentum comes from it. Yeah, not quite there. DJ Stagner gonna fade back, and Jacob Fife, with all the confidence in the world, takes another spot. 47 laps to go now, and Jacob is in third. Nick Tarbuck having a pivotal race for his championship performance. Ethan Lane has gotten up into 16th, by the way. We'll keep tabs on him as the night goes on, but with 47 to go, tonight might end up a wash. For Tarbuck, however, he's ahead of all the drivers in points who are ahead of him. Firmly ahead now of Jack Drucker, and ahead of Bresci and Matthew Thunhorst. I'll tell you what, Thunhorst is dropping back, and it's now getting to be a serious problem. For the first time in nearly a month and a half, it looks like Matthew does not have the stuff to keep up with his teammate in Bresci. He's now 14th, while Bresci is in 7th and gaining. It's a twist of fate that maybe we didn't even expect from the opening portion of this race. Thomas now has himself in full control and confidence, whereas his teammate slowly but surely dissipates. Cody Smith in 10th now. For the Next Level Racing number 18 crew, one of our multiple premier partners in the Integrity Racing League, we could not do it without them. Since 2023, the Next Level Racing bunch have been working with Cody Smith, our brand ambassador, and working with the league to ensure that we have high quality sim racing performance products. And not only are they meant for the best of sim racers, they're meant for the best of our drivers. Last year, we were able to award multiple drivers with Next Level Racing simulation rigs and miscellaneous equipment prizes. If you want to join the fun, use promo code INTEGRITY24 at nextlevelracing.com to learn more and save 5% at checkout for all items at nextlevelracing.com. Additionally, Jacob Fife helping us out with Sim Motion, our newest premier partner, joining us for the 2025 season and beyond as well. Thank you to us.sim-motion.com. Use promo code INTEGRITY for 5% off at checkout for all items. Sim Motion, a trusted sim racing vendor and a name you can rely on. The 36 car of Jacob Fife making it well known, your league owner in the podium with some 42 laps left. Tarbuck, 2/10 ahead of Jacob Fife here. The gap between them pace-wise has become minuscule. The only difference that time by was 8/1000ths of a second. Take a watch back from the rear end of the 29 car and you'll see how close it's really become. Jacob has momentum, and it looks like in the last few laps he's been the fastest driver of the top three. Michael Araya still has some half second, but it looks like a by-the-book Jacob Fife has been able to turn around and amp up the performance. Side by side for second, can Tarbuck get the crossover maneuver? It looks like he'll start it, but he won't be able to finish it. Jacob Fife, second place. The gap is less than a half second now between he and Laraya. 40 laps to go. Take a look at the back end. Michael Orion, the 44, coming through. Michael right now still holding all the track position he needs. Jacob Fife has been able to tear through almost everyone so far. Remember, they're all on equivalent rubber. What has to be done now, of course? That's the big question. Does he have enough left in the tank to move through and get to the inside of the 44 Lariah, or is he given it too much to this point? 38 laps to go. It's all speculation from this point onward. So far, though, it still looks like Jacob has not been breaking a sweat. Fife here, a little bit of an internet flicker, but no troubles yet. Braxton Deweese signaling this time by to pit road. It appears he's going to make a call in much earlier than everyone else and go for one more stop. Braxton is signed to go for the two-stopper on the day. The one of Deweese, the first of many to go in to pit road, perhaps for that final time. Does anyone else have the stuff to stretch it? That's the biggest question. Sam Nieto also going in, and DJ Stagner now signaling he'll come through. So look at this. Stagner, next up, he's going to miss nearly, and luckily gets it by the commitment cone. He missed the paint, went through the grass slightly, but that late exit will not be detrimental. DJ Stagner, I'll tell you this much, lucky, but I still think it's going to cost him a position or two. You're now looking at your final pit cycle on the night. Drivers last went in at lap 60 and they're conceding they cannot go the remaining 72. Michael Araya now holding a steady gap of 0.3 of a second, and it looks like finally a driver has met Jacob Fife's match. .35 laps to go. Elliott Henderson on slightly older rubber has now made his way up into 5th, and keep this in mind, 59 laps. That's when he last went in for his most recent caution. Not a big difference, but it shows that 37 will not quit. He and Nicholas Ward, the underdogs of the day, and of course Tyler Hensley, we've been saying a budding star in that 5 car. With JTM backing, his teammates are top 2 in the championship. It's no question he's going to keep making moves. Last week he made 3 places in the title race and got up to 23rd. Eyes are on top 20 if he can just get a few more races like this. Trailing right after his championship-leading teammate, Hensley's in a great position to continue to develop as a driver. I think that's a very unique position for the 5 car because maybe he's not yet known with any particular prowess. He's not a road course ace like his other 3 teammates in Morton or Thunhorst or Bressie, but he's all of a sudden become a lot more an all-around guy, which maybe he wasn't resembling in his 2023 part-time campaign. Oh, Bressie, slippery! He'll put it together. Ward a little bit loose as well. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 combination. You'll have Cody Smith and Don Stevenson at the back end. Four tires and fuel's the recipe. Rob Ackley finding himself at the head of the field now, and that's because many a driver have made their way through. Taking a look now at the surging Nick Tarbuck. Tarbuck went into pit road. And Michael Araya, as for the 44, he's just on his way out. Michael's on the way. Nick Tarbuck now in the 29 car, still keeping it moving. And it looks like Tarbuck's going to get ahead of Michael Araya at that. Watch for the 44. It looks like now Michael's going to have to really work overtime to get back up there. And in the meanwhile, Jacob Fife. Keep your eyes peeled for him as well. You'll see drivers are making it in. Lap 101 now out of 132. This is a really short stretch, which is surprising because usually you try to split it down the middle of the remaining laps. They're only going to have 30 laps to warm these tires up, put them to full use, and then it's race over. Jacob Fife really close to Jack Drucker there. Compromising entry, compromising exit, compromising all of the above. It's a contentious battle, but I don't think it's going to get either of these drivers anywhere. Now, Jacob gets by Matthew Thunhorst on the old tire. Matthew's going to have to come in sometime soon. We're slowly but surely running out of holdouts at the head of the field. Although the entirety of your top 10 is made up of drivers who have held it out, it looks like the top 20, not quite. We are starting to see the difference. Starting to see those drivers make their gains. Michael Araya is in 22nd, and it looks like this time by, he'll be officially scored in the top 20. Nick Tarbuck as well. Tarbuck leads all those on new rubber in 19th. Nick here, chasing after DJ Stagner. DJ's now going to have himself a second up on the 29. 28 laps to go. The only thing is you got to look at when these drivers went to pit road. DJ Stagner, by getting out early, used the undercut strategy to his advantage. DJ was able to go to pit road slightly earlier, and it looks like the 64 car, well aware of it. He went in at lap 97, Tarbuck at 98, Laraya at 101. Michael Laraya, by the numbers, will have the advantage. And it's only going to come down to whether he can use it well. It's a 4-lap difference across those three drivers. DJ, of course, having the worst circumstance from here. He's got the track position, which is wonderful. But at the same time, when you think about it, what's he going to do with it when he gets chased down? Rubber fades, and it does fast. It looks like although Nick Tarbuck and Laraya have been remarkably comfortable in the nighttime with clean air, they're going to have to play the role of aggressor. 26 laps to go. DJ Stagner still watching behind. Laraya wants to make this move on Tarbuck first. They'll settle for the scraps of Stagner later. Dropping low, the SimSpeed Shop 44 makes the pass on Tarbuck. DJ Stagner will see if he watches his back. Just outside wall. Luckily, at least, no contact for Stagner, but he's pushing the edge here. Now, DJ is no stranger to getting end-to-end on the racetrack, and that's where his last Ignite Series race victory came, and it was a fierce one. Matter of fact, it came here. It was between he and Blake Gordon, and that race was as contentious as it came. It was an overtime run to the end, and it came down to pushing and sliding in the final corner. Gordon getting contact, DJ Stagner running away, and so he was able to take victory in Nashville in our last trip here. Now, I'll tell you this much, it's a lot different because that was a late race restart, whereas we've gone for a remarkably clean race today. But look at this, Michael Araya closing more than a tenth and a half in just one corner for the net race lead. Michael Araya goes low to the inside, your defending Octane Series champion. He wants his first Monday night win. He'll take the race lead. Oh, what a move that was for Michael Araya. 22 to go, and we're going to crank it up with our friends at Whiplash SimCams, iRacing's best camera provider. And if you're a broadcaster at any level, there's no reason not to try. It won't cost you a dime. Visit their Discord server to find free trial cameras at your disposal. All track and car packs cost $5 a piece. Thank you for stopping by, watching FTN Broadcasting's coverage of the Nashville SuperSpeedway and the Integrity Ignite Series. With 22 laps to go, we're due to crank it up with our friends at Whiplash SimCams. Here we go again. The music is on, and it's the roar of these stock cars going side by side. Victories on the line. Let's crank it up from Lebanon, Tennessee. "15 laps remain, and Michael Araya remains advantageous, but as you might have noticed, Jacob Fife is closing in. We've still got quite a few holdouts at the head of the field, notably your new race leader in Jack Drucker. Now, here's how it's going to come down. We got a one-stop strategy trying to run it out. They have not yet gone down a pit road. They are holding out hope we will go long enough to get an instance of a yellow flag or any break in the action. This is also a battle for the race lead, but what my mind is focused on, and I'm sure what these drivers are subconsciously thinking about, is this battle. Michael Araya, Jacob Fife, going toe-to-toe now on new tire and trying to make their way up. Keep in mind, last time by, Araya ran a 31.243. Your leader in Drucker ran a 32.223. So, it is not out of the realm of possibility that Araya catches up to the drivers ahead of him, even without them going down a pit road. With 13 to go, Araya surges to the inside. This is for 9th place on Kyle Cooper. So it looks like Araya is betting on the strategy call of getting new rubber to still get him there all the way. Not going to be impossible. It looks like there's just enough of a chance for it to happen. It would take a 1 second advantage each and every lap. And it looks like this time by, Michael Araya going to throw down a 31-4-5-6. It was a 32-1-1-2 for Jack Drucker there, but he's still being hotly contested with Matthew Thunhorst. Michael still ahead of Jacob Fife. Jacob is watching, and it looks like right now that's all he can do because Araya is getting that first-class navigation through traffic. Very hard when you're the guy chasing after a potential net leader because you're not going to be treated the same by the drivers around you. Now, these are not lapped drivers either, so they're going to battle like it's for position. So Jacob is really caught in the mix. 3 wide there between Osmer, Miller, and Fife. It looks like Jacob is just barely going to get away there. Michael Araya now careening down the back straight all over again. He's up to 5th. Jared Davis is now scored in 4th. Vinny Tigner for 3rd. Although Vinny's going to concede and head to pit road. And I think it's going to be inevitable. They'll all come down. If we stay green, there is no chance now for the JTM number 8, nor for the Jack Drucker 56 to come down and in. Of course, that's their only hope. Green flag racing only gets you so far when you don't have the tires to make it. He went down at 57, Jack Drucker. No way. He'll have to back it down. 10 laps to go. It's a final call, and it's a concession for Drucker in the 56. Nine to go. Matthew Thunhorst is not giving up hope, but it's now a podium with its only withholding drivers. Thunhorst and Davis, 1st and 2nd. Jared has made it up 27 from 29th to P2, and he is next. Jared will have to watch out. But it looks like there's very little else he can do now, but let it happen. Jacob Fife has not yet been able to get to Michael Araya, and it looks like the lap traffic really take him out of the equation. Jared looking. This could be the battle for the race lead eventually, as Matthew Thunhorst is still yet to concede. Davis, no dice. He'll be put in the middle of 3 cars. The 96 following right behind. Luckily, no contact. Josh Gallagher is the final man in this 3-car ordeal. Matthew Thunhorst staying out. Now, if you take a look at the numbers, it is 5 seconds in 7 laps. If Thunhorst somehow pulls this off, it's not only the championship lead, but it's a resounding advantage. Thomas Bressi runs now in 14th. This would be huge for the 8 team. Matthew Thunhorst getting a win in any capacity like this would not only take him up by the numbers, but the momentum would swing so immensely in his favor, it'd be real hard to knock him off the top peg for the rest of the regular season. Jack Drucker is coming by. Once these drivers were battling for the lead toe-to-toe, now, not quite. Take a look on board with Thunhorst, and take a listen through turns 1 and 2. I'm wondering if he's clutching or coasting. No doubt about it. Clutch and coast is the only way Thunhorst is going to get around for 5 more laps. The gap is 3.7 seconds. Michael Araya still has to make it up. I don't think he's quick enough now to do it, lest Thunhorst has nothing left in the tank. He's going to be led now by the 96 of Gallagher. 4 laps to go. Matthew Thunhorst cannot afford to look back if he wants to win this one. It's full steam ahead, whatever steam he's got. Coming across the line. Still time left to spare. White flag is not out. We're still racing. Matthew Thunhorst coming through again. 2.9 seconds. We're coming to lap 130 of 132. Barney the flagman not giving the official signal. And we still go at it. 2 laps remaining. Up next, Michael here is still too far behind. 2.6 seconds the gap. The window of opportunity has not yet ceased, but it looks like even still, Lariah's got to dig a little bit further. Matthew Thunhorst coming to lap 131, still on top. I mean, take a listen to him through the corners. He's giving as little power as he can. He's treating the car like a hang glider. He'll take it up the top side of the corner, let it drift down and in, and then put the power down. 2 seconds, a lap and a half to go. Matthew Thunhorst is seeking not only a major victory because it would be his first on the season, but he's looking for the championship lead for the first time since 2023. 1 lap to go. The final lap now for the Nashville SuperSpeedway. Michael Lariah is a second and a half behind, and he's cutting that gap. 1.1, that's the differential. Josh Gallagher letting Thunhorst go by into 3 and 4. Michael Lariah, as persistent as he's been, took the extra pit stop, but he's still 1 second behind. Coming out of turn 4, new championship leader, Matthew Thunhorst. Thunhorst collects his first win of the season at the halfway point. And what a sweet victory that'll be. Matthew Thunhorst with the strategy call of the night, the only holdout to do it. He remained on track for 72 consecutive laps and made the magic number his own. Now to celebrate, Thunhorst is in victory lane. Well, it looks like no burnout, but a brief moment alongside the Nashville SuperSpeedway start-finish line. Thunhorst has been waiting for that one, I'm sure, a long while. And it's not just racing redemption. Of course, he's a former regular season champion, but it's proving once again that the 8 team and Matthew Thunhorst as a driver absolutely still has it. And what a thrill it was to witness. Checkered flag is out for the Nashville SuperSpeedway. It is Matthew Thunhorst leading over Michael Lariah in second, with Jacob Fife in third, Nick Tarbuck fourth, Jared Davis in P5, and Nicholas Ward then in sixth. Rob Ackley goes 7th place on the day, with Elliot Henderson 8th and Ethan Lane in 9th. Lane recovering from falling back as low as 29th and gaining 20 on the final green flag run. Thomas Bresci concludes the top 10, and it looks like JTM seeing multiple drivers in the top 10 once again. Domination Intimidation Racing also sending 2 to the front. Then you'll have Tyler Hensley in 11th, just missing on the top 10 cut alongside his teammates. Ronnie Osmer for 12th. 13th place for Cody Smith, and Sebastian Miller 14th. Tom Wetmore's P15 with Don Stevenson 16th and Brant McClendon 17th. Justin Morton 18th. Brian McFerrin 19th and 20th. Kyle Cooper in the number 73. 21st on down include DJ Stagner, Boomer Logan, Dylan Poteet in his second career start, and Braxton Weiss, an early leader who saw trouble late. Blake Gordon, Casey Shue, Steve Durham, Ryan Potter, Jack Drucker, and Brandon Bernhardt consist the final men of the top 30. 31st is Sam Nieto, 32nd is Cal Filarski, 33rd is Josh Gallagher, and 34th is Vinny Tigner. Josh Christman, Andrew Schaub, Gael Brooks, and Hunter Madalenas, the final drivers from 31st to 38th. Matthew Thunhorst takes perhaps the most important win of the season in terms of the full championship narrative, and while it didn't look like it was going to be an expected one, he had top 10 pace. He just had to go from the bottom of the top 10 and make it up front. And for those final 72 laps, Matthew Thunhorst did what nobody else could. He stretched the fuel window till the very final moment. I don't even know if you had the fuel to burn it out there, Matthew, but you made it across the checkered. You're a winner, and for the first time in a year and a half, you're a championship leader off of that performance.
Yeah, David. I can't honestly believe it, with that, because it was one of those at first when we started the night. I think it's a one stop, and I was feeling good about it because the way I was just driving, hurting the right front a little bit because of it. But we got that caution that came out, that one caution we had all night. Now it's like, oh, because it's running good, getting the points and all that. And then I had to push there, try to get halfway points. And it's like, okay, saving. And I started clutching hard, and I thought, oh, well, I'm good now. And then I got to about 20 going. It's like, oh no, I'm a lap short. And then, it's like I saw Don, who I know is good at fuel saving. Heard Brian clutching when he passed me. And then I knew Drucker was trying. And it was one of those, it's like it was really easy to get pushed harder than what I needed to. And I just kept backing it down when I needed to. And I was like, okay, Jack, you can go ahead. If I get second out of this, it's whatever. And then he pitted. And then it was like, okay, where's Lariah? It's like, I know he's quick. And something happened, I think, to Gael, and so he was kind of coaching me on the times of saying, hey, he only gained half a second. Hey, he hasn't gained enough. And it was one of those, especially when I had to push to skip past Strucker, I was half a lap short on it, and then I had to really start clutching it to where I was shutting the car off. And yeah, we went from 6 laps short after halfway and somehow stretched it to where we ran out of fuel coming out of turn 2 on the cool down. So I snookered one win last year with fuel mileage. I got another one this year, and it's about the only way to how many fast guys have got in the league I can get one nowadays. So to be able to get the one opportunity and pull it off and just eke out in front of Michael. Yeah, I stretched a tank of fuel that they were saying only could go 65, 69. I still don't know how I can do it or how I did, David. I'm kind of in shock still.
And that's the question we're asking ourselves here. Of course, by the numbers, you came down in at 60, so that's 72 overall. There were a few under caution, and I'm sure the only way you pulled it off, first and foremost, was saving under yellow, and then you spent a ridiculous amount of time clutching and coasting, and we were wondering, not only did you keep the lead by doing that and kept yourself on track, but you were still turning solid enough laps where you weren't losing drastic amounts of time. That was the big question for us up here, because it looked like maybe Lariah or Fife would be able to blow by you in the late laps like they did with everyone else, but somehow you maintained pace while saving so extensively.
Yeah, it was one of those that once I thought I was feeling good with it, I started only clutching into 3 because it was really fitting. And it's really hard to try because you could carry so much speed, especially in a 3, that I'd be clutching it and then the car would just want to fly off because there was no engine braking. And so I'd be clutching and braking. I'm going to shut the car off, turn it back on, reaching up on my dash and all that. And then I realized, oh, I'm not going to make enough on saving. So I had to start doing it in 1. I got that figured out. And I was looking at times, and it's like 32 ones. And I was hearing, hey, their leaders are doing 30.8s. And so I was just kind of praying that they'd fall off enough and I just keep the speed up. And I haven't seen my lap times, but I felt pretty good. I found a way to kind of speed up a little bit and got past Jack there. And I got lucky. It worked out. I just had enough skill this time to pull off the fuel saving and just had just enough gap to Michael and the rest of them behind me to stay out in front.
Less than a second, the difference, of course, between perhaps the podium and a pivotal win. It's not just the fact you take the opportunity and make fuel strategy work again, Matthew. It's also that this puts you at the top of the championship pylon for the first time this year. Past 2 months, you have been slowly but surely digging back against your teammate Thomas Presti, getting up to this point where you could contend, and now eclipsing him, as we're looking for the official standings to record anyway, but based on positions here, it's your first shot up in front of the 2025 championship. Next week, we're going to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, Echo Park Speedway, however they call it now. It's the new configuration. Anything goes. It's a mini super speedway, so maybe a chance for another gamble for a good run.
Yeah, my luck's pretty pitiful at super speedways, and I mean that's the reason why I've been able to gain on Bressie so far. Is he's kind of had some bad luck here and there, and I almost feel like I'm just caught in the middle of the chaos, and I just kind of come through. I wipe a little bit of dust off my hood and get lucky. So I mean that's part of the reason why I've gained so much and just been a lot of luck to avoid the trouble. And the big thing is forget the championship. This win locks me into the playoffs. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's the one thing we're going to celebrate this one tonight for that alone.
And what a victory. All the circumstances attached, a night like this, not to be forgotten. Matthew Thunors taking JTM Motorsport up in front in Music City. Any final comments you'd like to leave us with here, Matthew?
Yeah, David, just, thanks to everybody in the league. It was really thrilling for me. I was hearing some trouble in the back that we were able to keep it clean there, so I'm glad there wasn't any shenanigans there. And just, thanks to all the admins for all the work they put in. Just thanks to Next Level Racing, for being a sponsor, same to SimMotion, and thanks for I finally get to bring them home to victory lane, so that's really cool. So, and just thanks to y'all at Fireball Talks for broadcasting, and might not have been thrilling in the sense that a bunch of packed together, but I hope the fans kind of enjoyed a little bit of fuel strategy tonight. So hope it kept them enjoyed, and they'll get big old pack racing next week when they tune in, hopefully. So see them all there, and just thanks for all of everybody's support and everything else. So.
Every lap counted. Matthew Thunors making the most of a lap-to-lap fuel strategy run, coming away with his first win of the season. Thank you for your time, Matthew.
Thanks, David.
And as soon as we get Matthew out, it's up next, Michael Laraya. So we're going to move on to our second place man, the number 44, and he's with us right now. Laraya, your closest opportunity to this point in winning in the Ignite Series. You took the extra stop, you drilled right through the field, only one driver stood in your way.
Yeah, David, it's good to be talking to you again. It's definitely been a while. Boy, this season has been a little bit trying for me. Maybe not so much for lack of speed. I just would say I had a stretch of races where just luck was not going my way, either just getting caught up in wrecks on restarts or other things. But at least over the past couple weeks, it's definitely been a good turnaround as far as speed and luck, at least too. So, man, I thought tonight that was going to be my night. Just I caught it right. Not short pitting on that caution that we had there, and that certainly helped establish my track position. And then I had the clean air the rest of the run to start, and at that point it was just not beating myself, and I felt like I did everything right tonight. But props to Matt for just pulling a heck of a strategy call there, and really he had to time everything right to win this race tonight. If he didn't save a little bit extra, he was going to run out earlier than he did, and then I would have been able to get around him. So I mean, he nailed it tonight, and it's frustrating still. I definitely wanted to get that first win of the season, but he just did a great job executing.
By all accounts tonight, when you got the clean air, you rolled away from just about everyone. The race was divided again by only one caution, which is great to see. A lot of green flag racing, and it came right around the time the sun completely set. Track conditions shifting a little bit. We saw some drivers who weren't up in front making their moves, and vice versa, some others falling back. Did the track at all behave any different with the tires as the night progressed, or was it just down to timing your stints and that being the most important part?
The track certainly changed as the night progressed. Earlier in the race, it felt like the track was a little bit slicker. Um, and it was weird though, because it felt tight in different areas of the turn versus later when the sun really set. It kind of transitioned in some sense about the feel of the car, where areas that it felt tight earlier in the race, it felt looser, and vice versa. But I would say when the night fell there, we were really hauling as far as lap time. The front end of the car just felt a lot more responsive. So beginning of the run, you could really click off some good lap times. But I would say though, I noticed it. I think it was just because I was driving harder, honestly. car felt really good for the first 15 laps or so when it was nightfall, and then afterwards it started feeling super tight. But again, I think it was just how I was pushing the car, and uh, I was really making some aggressive moves trying to get around lap traffic there. Jacob, he really came on strong halfway through the race, and I saw him coming up through the ranks, and it looked like he was going to at least, give me a run for my money on the long run there. So I knew that I couldn't make any major mistakes or he's going to get around me. And so after we made those green flag pit stops, I knew that I could not afford to get held up by lap traffic or he was going to be right on my bumper and it's going to be really tough. So um, just, yeah, a lot of things played out tonight where you really had to be on your game. But uh, again, props to Matt for just a amazing call there on strategy.
The difference was all about that strategy call. We were surprised to see it was able to happen. And of course, it was only you who had that shot of pushing against it. Now, momentum either way. Not a victory, but a fair shot for a podium and maybe more. Up next is a track where anything goes, the 1.5 mile in Hampton, Georgia, Atlanta Motor Speedway in its mini super speedway configuration. So far, the 44 team has been on the up and up after our Memorial Day break here, and 9th coming into the day, and it looks like some improvements to be made in the championship standings. Any goals set for next week, or is it just play it by ear?
Um, my mindset is hopefully to stay more towards the front. I feel like uh anytime I try to hang in the back at these types of tracks, whether it be Atlanta or Talladega, Daytona, I usually get caught up in a wreck regardless. So I'd rather take my chances and try to stay near the front and have some fun that way, and even if I do get wrecked out. So that's going to be my mindset. Hopefully qualify near the front and try to stay near the front. Obviously, though, if you get kind of shuffled out, then you have to take things as they go. But that's going to be my game plan. But really, I'm looking ahead at the schedule here, and I'm just making sure that I can kind of pad my spot in the standings here. I think I'm doing okay right now, but I really don't want to be anywhere near the cut line with two races to go before we start the playoffs here. Just because you never know. So really, just making sure that I'm surviving these races, and I think a big thing um, that's going to affect things moving forward here is really just going to be the stage points as well. I really tried to make an effort to qualify better as of late and at least get some stage points. So tonight was a great night for that, and I just want to keep that mindset moving forward.
Going the distance and making it matter more and more week after week. Regular season close to its end, and Michael Araya pulls his career best finish on the Monday Night Tour. Michael, if you have anything else you'd like to add, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, of course. I got to give a shout out to yourself, David, for putting on these broadcasts. I got to give a shout out to my sponsor, Sim Speed Shop, for being on board the car past couple years for me. And of course, the admins of this league for always doing a great job.
Looking for 2 consecutive playoff berths in 2 years? In 2 series. Michael Araya really solidifying that case with a second place run today from Music City. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
With Laraya on the move, one more driver to speak to. It's the 36 of Jacob Fife. Fife, often with the flair of the unexpected so far this year. Well, it looks like, interestingly enough, today he plays it by the straight and narrow, and it works out well. Bringing in your third place driver for Sim Motion, the number 36, Jacob Fife. 2 seconds back on victory, and it looks like going with the flow tonight worked out well for a top 3 run.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun tonight there, David. We able to luck out a little bit on our strategy with the caution coming out and not have pitted yet, so that was a plus. And then I was able to figure some things out after we went back to green in terms of like how to get in the corner and how to kind of wrap the bottom really well, probably better than anybody because I was able to make a couple passes. I think it was past Nick and then DJ there and running down Lariah before we came into pits. So it's kudos to Matt there for saving enough fuel. I didn't think there was any way possible to do that. So that's really impressive. But really good run tonight. Helps me kind of push up in the points there. We're really on the cut line. So definitely needed that finish tonight to kind of keep the momentum moving.
Now, we've seen some success out of you with the intermediates so far this year, notably the Octane Series. You have yourself a win, but contrary to other successful races you've had, you didn't really play around with the strategy too much today. It seems like everything worked out naturally as opposed to doing something very different. Almost everyone did what you and Michael Araya did in going down a pit road that final time, and you had that first caution to put yourself to pit road to begin with. So it looks like it wasn't all about strategy per se. You just seemed to have the pace and you connected the dots really well. Was there anything that helped you in getting to that point?
Yeah, I think like I said, once the first caution came out, the strategy to me anyway seemed really simple. So between that and figuring out kind of how to drive into the corner there really helped me keep pace more. I didn't really have to go off schedule or anything like that, which is good because that's always you're taking a risk there, whether you go short or long. You can run the potential of running out of laps to catch up, or if you pit early there, running risk of a caution, kind of like we had earlier in the race. So um, I was able to stick with Uriah, and he's really good on the long run. So if I'm doing that, I'm doing something right. So I was happy to see that and kind of gaining on him actually as the nighttime kind of came on us there. So yeah, I wish I would have handled lap traffic a little bit better. Obviously, I don't think it would have mattered anyway with Thun Horse's uh, fuel saving there, but um, there was some times there I felt like I could get to Lariah and then I get caught up in traffic and then it's just he kind of drove off, which is fine. Like I said, I'll take the third place, but definitely with a little luck, definitely had a chance for the win tonight for sure.
And a performance like this is critical for the championship run. 14th place last week where you came in at. Now you find yourself sitting P11 in the standings. We're at the final point of our regular season. The last few races are coming up. We, of course, immediately have a mini SuperSpeedway race next on the calendar. But this podium is a wave-making run. What's it going to take now to build off this momentum and set up a few more strong races to really solidify your case?
Yeah, I mean, more of the same. Looking around the guys who are on the cut line, just ahead of the cut line, and like I am at the moment, or just on the outside, they can all win a race. So the playoff picture and the structure could change literally from race to race. I'm kind of actually glancing at the standings right now. So you've got guys behind me like Ackley and Wetmore, Nick Ward, Justin Morton, Blake Gordon, even further down who can actually go and win races. So you got to keep pushing. You got to keep out of trouble. I know kind of how I ended up back here was a couple really bad races, like Talladega, for example. I think I finished dead last. So just can't have those. That's at this point. There's no room for error. So we'll have to keep stringing together a couple good runs. Uh, New Atlanta's a crapshoot, so that's going to be interesting. But if we can make it through there, I think the rest of the schedule does lend itself to how I race or how I choose to race, and it can kind of string together some good finishes. It's just going to be a matter if that's going to be enough to make the cut. And I think I'll also stage points will have to come into play too. This is the first time, believe it or not, all season where I've actually gotten stage points in Ignite this year. So when you have guys that are racking up you know 40, 50, 60 points in stage points, that makes a huge difference. So we're going to try to pick and grab some stage points where we can still get some solid finishes, and hopefully that just be enough to make it.
Now, of course, pulling all the pieces together and having a complete race from beginning to end, just about as strong as they come. Jacob Fife, big moves in the championship run, third place from Nashville. Anything else you'd like to add, Jacob? The floor is yours.
Yeah, well, as always, we appreciate you for doing the broadcast for us. You do a fantastic job, and enjoy working with you. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our partners with Next Level Racing and SimMotion, who provide us with the ability to provide some awesome prizes and things for our both of our series, the Ignite on Monday night and the Octane on Tuesday night. Also, would like to thank our other sponsors, Pro Powder and Paint, that comes on board and helps us as well. And once again, thanks to all the members who come out and make it possible. We wouldn't be the league we are without them and our admin team. And we're looking to finish off the season in a strong note. So hopefully we'll keep the league momentum going and have some good races to finish out the season and see how we do in the playoffs. Hopefully.
Right on the halfway point of the 2025 calendar, Jacob Fife pulling together strong as we head through Music City. Third place on the day, Jacob. Thank you again for stopping by.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Now we come to that point where the second half is upon us. We've gotten the early races out of the season. We know the who's who and we know what's what. Your top three indicative of just that. Jacob Fife moves up 3 points in the championship standings with a third place finish. Michael Araya solidifies his top 10 candidacy with a second place day. And Matthew Thunhorst by 2 points leads Thomas Bressy in the championship run. He is now your title leader, and he's looking for the regular season chip. Next week, we're heading out to the Atlanta Motor Speedway for mini super speedway action. The 1.5 mile track in Georgia will play host. Tomorrow night, of course, we also go racing with the Integrity Octane Series, the Integrity Racing League, for 2 days of the week, of course, and that means that our next race is tomorrow at the Twin Ring Motegi. If you've enjoyed tonight's coverage, however, well, we're going to end on that note. A great race with fuel strategy, and Matthew Thunhorst is its winning man. A critical win for him, his first of the season, and potentially, if he goes out there to win a championship, it could be the first of many. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's coverage from the virtual Nashville SuperSpeedway, Lebanon, Tennessee. From the Integrity Ignite Series, this has been our 15th race of the 2025 calendar. Next up, race number 16 from Atlanta. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing all of tonight's coverage from FTN Broadcasting. If you've enjoyed tonight's racing, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow's broadcast from the virtual Twin Ring Motegi will begin live at 9 p.m. Eastern as the Octane Series heads for its halfway point of the championship as well. We hope to see you there. Congratulations to Matthew Thunhorst on his first win of the season here for the Nashville SuperSpeedway. From FTN Broadcasting, thank you for tuning in to coverage of the Integrity Ignite Series. We hope you have a fantastic night.